Am I the a-hole for telling my heavily pregnant friend her fiancé was in a documentary? Okay, it's currently 4 a.m., and I feel so guilty right now that I can't sleep. So, my friends and I decided to watch a documentary that's been trending. Not gonna lie, I was expecting a documentary showing the human side of a certain person, but yeah, as anyone who's seen it knows, that's not what it was. On to the issue, my friend's fiancé was one of the 1,000. I wasn't the first person to notice. 2 other friends noticed it first. I didn't believe it at first, but after a second watch, it was definitely him. Even though his face was covered, his body shape and especially his tattoos were undeniable. We debated until the early hours of the morning whether we should tell her or wait because she's 8 months pregnant. But in my opinion, if someone cheats like that, it's not their first time. I'd rather lose her friendship by telling her straight away than have her find out I knew and hid it. Let's be real, when you tell someone news like that, there's a huge chance they'll hate you, not the cheater. So this Sunday morning, I asked my friend to meet up to talk. I showed her the evidence, and the minute she looked at the picture, she knew it was him and broke down. I expected her to be angry at me, but she thanked me for being honest, especially since multiple people had only hinted that she should watch the documentary instead of being upfront like I was. I ended up driving her to her mom's house. I'm guessing she told her fiancé I told her, because he has been blowing up my phone, calling me an evil little homewrecker who ruined his life, and accusing me on social media of trying to ruin his relationship and wanting his unborn daughter to grow up without a dad. My friends are angry with me for telling her straight away and not waiting until after she had the baby, in case the stress would cause health issues. I don't give 2 shits about her fiancé, but I feel so bad for putting my friend in this situation while heavily pregnant. I'm worried that if something does happen to her, it will be my fault, like maybe she would have found out on her own if I had just waited. Am I the a-hole for telling my pregnant friend her fiancé was in a documentary? Now for the top advice before reading the mini update. Just to be clear, since the OP wasn't, the dude was in a video banging a random chick with 999 other guys, apparently while already with his fiancée. I'm pretty sure this is cut and dry LOL. He was part of the 1000 Bonnie Blue lineup in January. They got engaged on Christmas Day, and my friend would have found out around January she was pregnant. She didn't tell us till she was 3 months pregnant. People were saying I was very vague in the post, but I didn't know would saying the name of the documentary against the rules, and I don't want to give too much information away for my friend's sake. Yeah, you absolutely needed to tell your friend. I have a hard time believing this is the only time he's been unfaithful too. Not many guys decide to cheat for the first time by doing porn. I really hope he was decent enough to be careful for my friend's sake. Let's be real. What matters is how your friend feels. You told her right away and she was thankful. She took action right away. Does that sound like the kind of person who would want you to keep that secret from her? Not the a-hole. It's early days yet though. She could stay with him, and this could all turn on me. I'm a hairdresser and I've had women come in telling me they're getting divorced, giving very valid reasons. And then 4 weeks later they'll come in praising their partner. There's always a chance in situations like this that the victim will put their hate on the wrong person. Yeah, you're right. That is a possibility. Her reaction makes me think she's a bit more self-assured and confident than that, but it's always possible. Probably a good idea to block her ex and not badmouth him in the meantime. But even if that's what happens, you still did what a true friend would do. And you're not the a-hole. If I were her, I would absolutely want to know before giving birth and having the extra complications of a kid to deal with. She now has time to set up her support network. Now for the mini update. My friend's fiancé wasn't the only one of our partners involved in the lineup. My boyfriend of 3 years was one, and so was another friend's husband. 2 hours ago, he, my now ex, posted screenshots of a group chat and photographic receipts that no one could deny. Other men in relationships were involved. He said in the caption, "I wasn't the only one there," tags me. Maybe check your own man before coming for my relationship. Tags 5 other women. I'm not taking the blame alone and being seen as the bad guy while tags the men did the same. There was a lot more said, but I stopped reading and just deleted my social media accounts, then blocked my now ex. I don't want to hear his explanation. I feel so humiliated and physically sick. I don't know how I'm going to face my coworkers or clients at work tomorrow. I wish I could just disappear. My phone is going crazy, so I'm going to turn it off, take a long shower, and see if I can get any sleep for what I'm sure will be a hellish tomorrow. Next story. Am I the a-hole for giving my ex-best friend a taste of her own medicine after she betrayed me? My 26 female stirred up some controversy recently with my former best friend, let's call her Taylor, also 26, after pulling a petty move I don't really regret. Taylor and I were best friends for over a decade. We met in high school and had been inseparable ever since, through college, nursing school, and even landing jobs at the same hospital. When my parents moved abroad, her family became mine. Her mom even called me her second daughter. A year ago, I was stuck in a toxic, abusive relationship and had to leave my apartment overnight. Taylor took me in without hesitation. I moved into her second bedroom, and we agreed this would be temporary until I could break my lease. I insisted on paying rent and utilities, and we made clear boundaries about shared space and guests, especially since we worked opposite shifts. But as soon as I moved in, she changed. She became cold, passive-aggressive, and accusatory. One night, just 2 weeks in, she blew up at me for not paying rent mid-month, even though we'd agreed on a payment schedule since I was paying 2 separate rents and utility bills until I could break my lease. We talked it through, she apologized, and blamed work stress. I gave her the benefit of the doubt. Then came more issues. Guests over without notice, complaints about trivial things, like folded clothes left in the bathroom, and eventually a major fight where she accused me of taking advantage of her kindness. I reminded her I was paying bills and following our agreement. She claimed she thought I'd just pay and not expect any say in the living arrangement. After that, we didn't speak for days. But eventually, things became tolerable, albeit tense. About a week after this incident is when things really shifted, after a mutual friend's birthday outing. I noticed some of our friends were cold toward me. Later, one of them told me Taylor had been spreading lies, saying I was messy, didn't pay rent, and was playing the victim over my abuse and blowing it out of proportion. I was devastated and confronted her. She dismissed me, said she was tired of the drama, and I snapped, telling her I'd move out. I just needed until the end of the month to find a place. She agreed. However, she then ghosted me entirely, refusing to even acknowledge my existence, let alone speak to me. Needing an escape, I asked a few friends if I could stay with them for the weekend, to which they agreed. Only a day into staying at my friend's place, I got a message from Taylor's mom saying Taylor had packed all my things and left them in her garage. When I got there, my stuff was thrown haphazardly into trash bags and boxes. Some of my things were broken or missing. She even made sure to put a whole bottle of opened soy sauce in with my white clothes for extra spite. Her mom apologized to me, saying that Taylor had been acting strange recently and that she didn't know what her deal was. She told me she hoped things would get better, but advised me not to contact Taylor again until then. Obviously, I didn't listen and wanted answers. I messaged Taylor on IG since she hadn't blocked me there yet, asking why she had done this and requesting my missing things back. She didn't respond, but I did get a message from her mother telling me to stop harassing her daughter and that Taylor was going through things. Tired and heartbroken, I didn't want to fight any longer, so I just blocked them both, along with many of our mutual friends. I stayed in a hotel for a while and eventually found a new place. I've spent the last year healing, going to therapy and starting over. New apartment, new hospital, new friends. I even deactivated my social media for some peace. That all changed last week. Taylor reached out through a new number, saying she felt awful and wanted to reconnect and apologize. Old me would have jumped at the chance, but something felt off. So I decided to reach out to some old mutual friends and found out that Taylor had been secretly dating my abusive ex behind my back while I was living with her. The same ex I was trying to escape at the time, the one I had been crying about, who left marks all over me. I found out they had been dating for some time but had just recently broken up. I was disgusted and I snapped. I texted Taylor saying I'd love to catch up and made a reservation at one of our favorite busy Friday lunch spots. She showed up on time. I stayed home in my pajamas. I kept texting her fake excuses, stuck in traffic, parking now, etc., before finally blocking her. Then I had my mom, who doesn't like her either, send one last message. There's no need to text my daughter anymore. Please stop harassing her. Some friends say it was deserved, but many others that I respect and admire think I took it too far and should have been the bigger person. At first, I felt very vindicated in my actions and even thought I went easy on her, but now I'm not so sure. So Reddit, am I the a-hole? When you said a taste of her own medicine, I thought you meant she was gonna turn up to your reservation and find you locking lips with an ex of hers. Honestly though, I could have made it so much worse than I did. I also didn't have the time to coordinate all of that. I have a question. Do you think there's a possibility of them dating before you broke up with your ex? Because I'm just like, it's just weirdly timed. Or your ex was just that charming. I also love how her mom is saying you were harassing her, when in fact, she's doing the harassing. And you could have pressed charges for damages, so she's pretty lucky you didn't. I honestly have no idea. I was working really erratic hours at the time, so it's possible. I was in a lot of denial during that time, truthfully, so it's possible I just missed all of the signs. I never imagined any of this would happen, but I guess you never really know what lurks in the hearts of others. Ugh, not the a-hole. I agree with other posters here that you weren't mean enough. Nurses can be some of the coldest people on the planet. I am one, and it sends chills down my spine that we as a group can be so toxic. I thought I got really lucky with my friend group because I 100% have been bullied at work before. But between Taylor, the bulk of my former friends, and now this with some of my current friends, I'm finding really hard to want to be friends with other nurses at the moment, which is really sad. Last story. Am I the a-hole for not wanting to take the blame after my niece was hospitalized? Let me start by saying I don't know much about flowers, plants, etc. But I have 2 cacti from my ex-boyfriend. One of them looks like a generic cactus. The second one is almost white and looks like it has soft fluff instead of spines. It's soft to the touch, but if you touch it for too long, the soft fuzz becomes prickly. I've pricked myself a few times with it, but it never hurt me. That said, my sister came to our country with her husband and children, 13 and 8 male and 6 female. On the second day, they came to visit me. At one point, all the adults, me, her husband, her, and our mother, were in the kitchen cooking together, while the children, nephews, and our younger cousin stayed in the living room watching cartoons. When my sister and I went into the living room, we saw her daughter licking this cactus. We quickly learned that the children were interested in its unusual appearance, discovered that it was soft, and then began encouraging each other to touch and lick it. Well, okay, I placed the cactus in a higher spot, we had dinner, and everything was fine. Later, my sister, her family, our mother, and our cousin went home, and I went to bed. I woke up in the morning to a lot of angry texts and calls. From what I understand, my sister and I still haven't had a peaceful conversation, so this is based on texts, a few fights we've had, and my mother's version. After they got home, my niece started complaining that her face hurt. They ended up in the emergency room. Her tongue was swollen, and she had strange spots on her arms and around her ears. She also vomited. She stayed in the hospital and had some tests done. The results came back a little strange, but the doctors said it was probably nothing to worry about. She'd be fine, and they gave her some medication. According to my mother, my niece was already less swollen by the morning. While this was happening, my sister remembered the cactus situation and apparently even sent her husband to my apartment to bring the cactus to the hospital so the doctors could confirm it was the cause. Honestly, I didn't hear a thing. According to the texts, he was knocking on my door and the neighbors forced him to leave, and there was a big argument in front of my door, but again, I didn't hear anything. I slept through the night, and no, I'm not taking sleeping pills or wearing earplugs. My neighbors haven't said anything about it either, so I think that part might be exaggerated, but anyway. This is where the problems begin. Healthcare in our country is 100% free as long as you are insured. Not only did my sister's children not have insurance for this trip, Or maybe this particular incident isn't covered, I really don't know. But they are also not officially citizens of our country. So my sister ended up paying for her daughter's hospitalization. Now my sister wants me to pay her back. The thing is, I can't. First of all, I don't even have that kind of money. I would have to take out a loan to pay for it, but no one in my country will give me such a large loan because I am a student with a trashy job contract. Even my apartment is in my father's name, and he pays 70% of my bills. He and my mother are divorced. Secondly, I'll admit that I don't feel particularly guilty. I'm sad that my niece suffered, and I would definitely like to visit her and give her something or take her somewhere to apologize. But in the end, I didn't leave that cactus out on purpose. I didn't even know a cactus could cause such things. My sister isn't taking this well and now won't talk to me. My niece is getting out of the hospital tomorrow, but my sister said if I show up, she'll call security. Many of my sister's messages are chaotic. On one hand, she's begging me for money. On the other, she's yelling at me and the doctors. She claims they deliberately kept her daughter longer to get more money out of them. Then she tells me she's going to sue me. Then she apologizes and asks to talk to me. When I call her, she yells at me again, and so on. She even tried to drag our father and my relationship with him into it. Long story short, she and Dad stopped talking after he and Mom divorced, and she always blamed me for not doing the right thing. No one cheated, and there was no violence. Our parents separated after my dad changed jobs and started traveling. My mother says it's stress and asks me not to take it personally, but I don't know what to think anymore. She should have been watching her daughter. They should get insured when going abroad. Parents' fault. Why are the children egging each other to lick a cactus? They are old enough to not lick everything in sight. Did the parents not teach that? So a 13, 8, and 6-year-old were licking cactus? Why weren't the boys ill? Are you sure it was the cactus and not something else? From what I understand and saw, only 6 licked it. The rest were just said things like, "We'll do it soon," or "We have to do it." But they didn't have the courage. I think at best the rest were just touching it.